What's up, guys? Passion here, and with E3 officially underway, it is now time to wrap up some of the conferences. We're going to wrap up all the conferences eventually, but this year, instead of waiting for all of E3 to be over and then going through everything, then I kind of wanted to capture my emotions, like kind of in the moment of E3, and wrap up these conferences and talk about all the things that were revealed kind of as they happen. So, I did try to live stream my reactions, I really did, but there was problems with the software, and by the time that, I figured out that it wasn't going to work, it was kind of too late to fix it. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to live stream my reactions for E3. I'm going to try to fix it for Microsoft stream tomorrow, but if I can't, then I'm just going to still continue to do the wrap-ups, whatever. So unfortunately, I didn't get the reactions to the EA conference, which is what we're going to be talking about now. I will try to get the reactions for Microsoft for tomorrow. If I can't, you'll still see a wrap-up video from me regardless. So, like I said, with E3 underway, let's get into the first conference of E3, which is EA Play, and talk about all the things that were announced at this conference. So, starting off, we kicked it off with Battlefield 5. We got some details for that. There actually wasn't a lot of details for Battlefield 5, but I'll go over the ones that were talked about right now. So, one of the details that we got is that windows are now going to be completely destructible, allowing you to actually dive through them, and I'm assuming you'll also be able to shoot through them too. And defensive turrets, which were previously stationary, you couldn't move them. They were just kind of planted throughout the map. You couldn't do anything but stand in them and shoot stuff. They'll now be able to be movable by other vehicles, and you can place them at different locations throughout the map. Though I imagine that many players are just gonna ride around in the back of a tank, just shooting with the defense turret, instead of just actually plopping it down somewhere, because that's more fun. But they did say that they will be movable by other vehicles. Also, there will be more details about Battlefield 5's single-player story mode, which they're calling the War Stories. They'll be talking more about that at the Xbox briefing tomorrow. So, keep it locked for more videos from me about the Xbox conference, and I'll go into more detail about Battlefield 5 over there. But another good thing, this is something that, I know a lot of other people were worried about, but I really didn't care either way. They did announce that the game will not have loot boxes, and it will not have a premium pass. So, loot box haters rejoice, there will be no loot boxes in Battlefield 5. And they did officially confirm, people were speculating about it, but especially with Call of Duty announcing that they're going to do this, people were speculating about it, and it was confirmed that sometime after launch, Battlefield 5 will be getting a Battle Royale mode. They didn't go into any detail about that, except other than they said that, that the destruction that we're used to from, the core Battlefield experience, those destructible environments, that will return for Battle Royale. That's the only, thing that they announced for Battle Royale. But it will be coming to Battlefield 5 sometime after launch. Then we got a little bit of a single-player trailer for Battlefield 5. It didn't really hint at the story all that much, mainly just showing some of the locales and the destruction. There was no narration talking about the story or anything. It was just kind of hey, look at this pretty game we made. And it looked pretty. It had a beautiful song, but it didn't really wow me or cause any sort of hype for the game. So after that, we got a short little story teaser, which was hinting at more of a story thing happening. But it was a short little 15-second teaser and stuff, basically telling everybody to go look at the full story reveal at Xbox's show tomorrow. So, we'll have to see what they bring to Xbox tomorrow before we can definitively talk about Battlefield 5 story at all. So then from there, we immediately went into FIFA 19, the UEFA Championship trailer. And yes, soccer fans, football fans, rejoice. The UEFA Championship League is coming to FIFA 19, and it will be integrated heavily into the game, into every aspect of the game. the single player, the multiplayer, the story mode, and FIFA Ultimate Team will all be, focused around the UEFA Championship League. Now, they didn't really talk about anything beyond that for FIFA 19, that, beyond the fact that the UEFA Championship League was coming. But they did say that more details on FIFA 19's Ultimate Team, as well as the gameplay improvements that they've made, will be announced later this summer, which in my translation means probably at Gamescom. Now, this is confusing to me. I don't know why they didn't, talk about the gameplay improvements at E3, which is the biggest stage, and save, all their important, new kind of reveals for FIFA 19 for a later date. That doesn't make much sense to me. Do it on the biggest stage possible. Do it at E3. But they said tell that story later, so we'll figure about that later. But they did say that they consulted with FIFA pros and beginners when making these gameplay improvements. So if the game is more accessible to a noob like me, because I enjoy watching soccer when it's when it's on and I can catch it. I'm not a huge fan or anything, but I enjoy watching it, and I would get into the games if I knew how to play them, but I don't really know how to play them. That's the thing. And so if they can make it more accessible to someone like me, then I might even pick up FIFA 19. That's one of the big barriers standing in my way of me enjoying the FIFA games. So this was kind of strange. Next thing they went into, some news about FIFA 18. Right after we got done talking about FIFA 19, which is weird because FIFA 18 is already out. But they announced that the FIFA World Cup 2018 update is now live for players of FIFA 18, and they also announced that the entire game, literally the whole game, is free right now for a limited trial period on PS4, Xbox One, and on PC through Origin Access right now. So that's really exciting. That you can pretty much play the entire game of FIFA 18 for free right now, and every mode should be unlocked. So if you wanted to play FIFA 18 but you didn't have the money, didn't want to spend the money, go check it out right now. It's completely free to play. And like I said, they're well, I'm gonna get into it actually here in a minute, but it's gonna be pretty much free to play for a while now. So go check that game out if you're interested. So next we got a trailer for the free trial of FIFA 18 with the World Cup update. Never seen a trailer for a free trial of an old game before at E3, so there's that. Though I do have to admit, the song they chose was pretty cool, just like it was last year when they unveiled FIFA 18. So then the CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson, came out to make some announcements. The first thing he said is that a new game streaming service from EA is coming sometime. We don't know when, but we will be able to stream a bunch of EA games from the cloud to multiple devices. So they didn't give too much information on that. They just said it's coming sometime. So next he went into the announcement of Origin Access Premier, which is a new program that adds on top of the Origin Access kind of idea, and it works very similarly to Xbox Game Pass, where it gives you access to all of EA's brand new PC games, including Madden NFL 19, which actually hasn't been out on PC in over a decade, Battlefield 5, FIFA 19, and Anthem. They're all going to be available on the service. And you'll also get the benefit of Origin Access, the Standard Edition too, so you get all those old games in the vault that Origin Access members can get as well. So they said that Origin Access Premier will launch later this summer, and that there is yet another free trial of the standard Origin Access this E3 weekend. So like I said, if you want to check out FIFA 18, not only is the entire game free to play right now, but Origin Access is free right now. At least for E3 weekend. So if you want to hop on and play some FIFA 18, if you wanted to play some Star Wars Battlefront, you can do that. It's totally cool for all of E3 weekend. So get hyped for that. And then we got a trailer for the Origin Access Premier service, which is weird. I mean, again, another great song, but why a trailer? Why are we having trailers for subscription services at E3? It's dumb. But anyways, moving on, let's talk more games. the next game that we talked about was Respawn's new Star Wars game. Now, the reveal itself was kind of awkward because it took place in the crowd rather than on stage with graphics. It was kind of cringy a little bit, but the news was good, so it didn't really bother me that much. So the game is officially called Jedi Fallen Order and is set for a holiday 2019 release. So the game takes place between the events of Episode 3 and Episode 4, and you play as a Jedi that is being hunted by the Empire after the commencement of Order 66. So that's really, really exciting. I've always wanted to explore that part of Star Wars lore, like right during and after Order 66 happens. So it's really cool that that's the direction they're going with this game. And of course, yes, there will be lightsaber combat in the game. Again, there was no gameplay or teaser or trailer or any sort of visuals at all to go off of. It was just literally, the host sitting down in the crowd with somebody from Respawn talking about the game, and that was all they did. But it was still cool to hear all this news, and that kind of helped take away from, or helped, fix some of the cringe and some of the awkwardness of the reveal, because it was such a good reveal that we got that information. So next we went into the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Year 2 update details, and it started, of course, it kind of had to start this way. It started with the acknowledgement of the controversy surrounding Battlefront 2. Now, here's the thing, okay? I do believe EA when they say that they want the game to make players happy, okay? I don't believe that any company, EA or anyone, is actively out to piss off consumers and off in pursuit of profit. Yes, secondary monetization systems are there to make money. That's obvious. But contrary to popular belief, there is no one over at EA twirling an evil mustache and laughing maniacally about how much money they're going to get from players. Like the fact of the matter is that a lot of these corporate people, at EA and other companies that are doing some similar things, they aren't gamers. You know what I mean? So they're the ones making the decision to throw these loot boxes and microtransactions in there. And they're not gamers, and they don't know how gamers will react to the systems that they implement, since every player may react differently. Like, say someone really does want the option to drop $100 on microtransactions for a game, and someone else really wants the microtransactions to be gone completely. As a company, who do you listen to? It's not an easy decision. It's trying to balance, profit with customer satisfaction, and that's not always easy with this industry. So they just try their best to balance that, and they just often don't get it right. And I just want to set the record straight that I don't believe that EA or these other companies are out to screw you. I just thought I'd get that out of the way here, talking about the controversy. So after they acknowledge that, they then recap what they've done since their Last Jedi update last year, which they've included Ewok Hunt, and they also have the new Han Solo content that's dropping next week into the game. They also said that there is a new squad system coming later this summer to make it easier to play with your friends, but they didn't talk really about what that's going to be like. Personally, I thought it was pretty easy already to play with your friends on Battlefront 2, but if they want to make it simpler, I guess, hey, whatever. They also said there's a new Starfighter mode that is on the horizon, and it's focused entirely on dogfighting, which is really exciting. Also, this was the big thing for Star Wars Battlefront 2 for me. The Clone Wars are finally coming, ladies and gentlemen. They are coming this year, and the Clone Wars updates will start with a new Geonosis map that features the largest level they have ever done, as well as General Grievous and Obi-Wan Kenobi as playable heroes, alongside Count Dooku and Anakin Skywalker, which I don't know if they're coming in the same update or a later update, but they're coming. So we have General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, and Anakin Skywalker, plus the Geonosis map, all coming, which is amazing. So next, we went into a reveal teaser for Unravel 2, which is something I was totally blindsided by. It would never have predicted that in a million years. It showed Yarny losing his spark when his yarn snaps after being thrown from a boat in a storm. Okay, so then we went into the details about Unravel 2, and it was so good to see Martin Celine again, along with a sequel to his game, which is one of my favorite E3 moments, and I've talked about it before back in 2015 when we got that reveal of the EA Originals and Unravel. It was so awesome to see that nervous, scrappy Martin trying to compose himself, in front of the big E3 crowd to show off his little indie game, and it was so heartwarming. And this reveal just brought back all of those good memories from E3 2015. So it was really good to see him again and to see a new sequel to his game that, he had, nervously unveiled to the world in 2015. So Unravel 2 starts out with Yarny, of course, losing his spark, just like we saw in the reveal teaser. But very soon he finds yet another Yarny. It's a blue one that he connects to. And this game will have you and your new Yarny friend chasing after your spark together, either as a solo experience or in co-op with a friend. And then they showed that off in the gameplay demo for Unravel 2. And it was super impressive, like how they pulled that demo off with completely no hiccups, like whatsoever. And the only hiccup that they had was they had to access the debug menu at the start of the demo to get where they needed to be in the game. But other than that, like their skills at the game was perfect. Like they didn't miss a step at all, which is really kind of impressive and cool. It made the game look cool. And then we got a trailer for Unravel 2, like the big reveal trailer, and the trailer was absolutely beautiful and had amazing music. So far, it is one of my favorite and, in my opinion, one of the best trailers at E3 so far. Unravel 2, amazing reveal. Oh, and by the way, Unravel 2 is out right now. It is officially out. I've been seeing people streaming it already. It just completely surprise released at the end of the conference, and people are already getting their hands on it and playing it. And once I do have the money for it, I am so picking this one up. It looks so much fun. And I can't wait to check out Unravel 2. So, then we went into a little bit more information about EA Originals, and it was talked about that Hazelight Studios, which was the indie developers that brought us A Way Out earlier this year, thanks to the EA Originals program and thanks to their game A Way Out, they were actually able to afford to move into a bigger office and become a bigger development studio. So that's kind of cool that EA Originals helped them do that. But next, we got a reveal, and I called it, not to brag too much, but I called it. I did call this in my predictions that we would see this. Nobody else was predicting this, and I did predict it. We got a reveal for Sea of Solitude. And Cornelia Geppert, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, she's a creative director for the game, and she came out and got a little emotional and about being on the E3 stage, and it reminded me, again, a lot of Martin Celine's first E3 with Unravel, when the EA Originals program was, first kicked off. And of course, she's part of this little indie studio out in Berlin, who's, got their big break on the E3 stage. And that's what I talked about, like, last year when we got the reveal for A Way Out, is I'm like, damn, like, I wish we could go back to when, the scrappy little indie studios, who had, their tiny little games, got to be on this big stage in front of millions of people, like, all around the world to show off their games and how big of a deal that was for them. And I missed that last year. So to have that come back, especially with Unravel 2 and now Sea of Solitude, was amazing. And she said that the game is a very personal story about loneliness. And it takes place in a fantasy world where you will take control of a young girl named Kay, whose loneliness is so intense that it has actually turned her into a physical monster, like an actual little demonic monster. And the game revolves around a quest to balance her emotions and turn her back into a human. Now, this entire reveal just gave me all the feels. Like, I was really feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. Even before seeing anything about the game, just hearing her talk about it, like, I was already just connected so deeply and resonated with this concept so much that I was hooked. And then, of course, we did get the reveal trailer for Sea of Solitude, and right from the opening shot, like, I just love this trailer. I love this game. This game looks like it's going to be massively emotional with both beautiful and really creepy art direction. And the song was just so oppressive and heavy. It just, I need this game. Like, I need it now. And this game is totally one I'm pre-ordering, hands down, right when pre-orders launch. Like, I am definitely making sure I hit this one up and getting it. It's definitely the game that got me the most excited at EA's conference, and may even be the best game at E3. Who knows? We'll see what the other developers do, but you know, I'm fairly certain that this is a contender for best of show at E3. It was that good, and the game will release early 2019. So then we moved into the trailer for NBA Live 19. Unfortunately, my prediction was wrong that we were getting a story mode in NBA Live. But we did get another trailer for it. It showed off how the one mode is coming back from last year, and that you will also now be able to take a squad on the road with you as well through the one mode. So there's that, and it looks like there'll also be more international courts, as well as a yet-to-be-revealed new progression system and new customization options, if you're into that. So NBA Live 19, make sure you go check that out. And then, of course, we got the reveal for Madden NFL 19, and the reveal had me upset at first, because it looked like they were just going to talk about the EA Sports esports crap for a third year in a row, which would have pissed me off. But thankfully, it really wasn't all that bad. I mean, yes, they did talk about one of their esports players in the esports scene, but it was only really so they could set it up for the audience, you know, talk about who he was and why he was important to the reveal when he walked out on stage with Juju Smith-Schuster, I hope I'm saying his name right, from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They both came out and you know, helped set up, well, first they bantered back and forth a little bit, talking to each other, and then they set up the Madden NFL 19 first look trailer. So that's what we went into next, and it looks like, from what I can see, the game's only improvement is a new player movement system, which they're calling real player motion. But that's not. But is that enough to get me to buy it? No. Like, that's the only way I'd pick up Madden NFL 19 is if it came to the Switch, and there was no information that it was coming to the Switch. So I'd actually pick up Madden NFL 18 before I pick up the new one, just to play that story mode. So unfortunately, Madden NFL 19 was kind of a bummer this year, but you know, whatever. I'll just wait for the next one. I haven't actually picked up a Madden game since like 2000 Madden NFL 16, I think. So it's been a while, but once the right one comes along that has enough improvements that I like, I'll pick it up. So then we went into something weird. The reveal gameplay demo. At first they kind of had people come out and talk a little bit before they did the demo, but it was a gameplay demo for the most part of Command & Conquer Rivals. So professional shoutcaster Nathanius and Michael Martinez, which is the general manager of Raven Studios, came out to announce Command & Conquer Rivals, which is a new CNC RTS game, which is coming to mobile. Now, this was definitely the lowest point of the show for me. I'm not a big fan of RTS games to begin with, nor am I a fan of the Command & Conquer games. So, and from what I can tell on Twitter, even actual Command & Conquer fans were pretty upset too and disappointed with this announcement, because it wasn't like a true Command & Conquer game. It was kind of like a crappy little spin-off game. So they were really disappointed with it. I was disappointed with it. It was kind of a bad thing, and having a couple of gaming personalities to take the stage, like two teenagers to take the stage, to sit down and play in front of everybody on a big stage, just sitting there playing on their phones while being shoutcasted by a shoutcaster. It's just super awkward and cringy and stupid. Please don't do that again, EA. That was terrible. that was definitely the weak point of the show for you. So from there, they went into a cinematic/gameplay trailer for Command & Conquer Rivals, and it actually made the game look way cooler than the demo did. I don't know why they didn't lead with this instead of the demo, because if they had led with the trailer instead of the demo, then maybe I actually would have given a shit about Command & Conquer Rivals before they actually showed the showed the gameplay demo. Actually, better yet, just scrap the gameplay demo entirely. Just show us the trailer, and then hey, I might have been hyped for this game, but you kind of ruined it with the gameplay demo. So that's kind of your fault, EA. So then, as we're rounding up the show here, EA's Play to Give campaign. They talked about they recapped their 2018 or their 2017 campaign. They said that they helped raise over $1 million for He for She, the Pacer Center Against Bullying, and Ditch the Label, which are all fantastic charities. And it's good that players have helped raise over $1 million for those organizations. So finally, of course, the last big thing we had to talk about in this conference was Anthem. Anthem was their big, spotlight game of the conference, and we got a ton of information about it, so let's talk about it. We kicked it off first with the cinematic trailer for Anthem. Honestly, I was kind of lukewarm on the trailer. I mean, the visuals did look cool, the music was pretty good, but it just kind of felt kind of generic when comparing it to other game trailers. Like, you could actually put the Anthem trailer from this E3 right next to the Call of Duty multiplayer trailer, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell much of a difference. Like, they were so tonally similar that it just kind of came off as generic. But luckily, then they went into a deep dive interview. In lieu of picking one of their games like Battlefield to do like an hour-long, multiplayer match with celebrities and influencers and stuff like that, they instead took half of that hour that they had left to do this big deep dive interview about Anthem and talk about stuff in the game. And then the other half was dedicated to like a sort of like a mini World Cup tournament in FIFA 19 that nobody even talked about or watched. But I'm glad they took some of that extra time they had to go really deep into Anthem and talk about it. So the first thing they talked about was this feature, which they have called Our World, My Story, which is basically where all players in the game will experience the same world at the same time in the exact same state. For example, if it's raining or if it's nighttime, every player in the game will experience that at the same time, and the open world state will not vary from player to player. However, in that shared world, players will be able to choose their own missions, choose who they talk to, and choose how their story progresses. And of course, the game, as we saw, will support up to 4-player co-op. So the story, they said, will not only be rich when it launches, but they're also leaving room to expand the story into the future. And they didn't say if that was going to be like in terms of free updates or events or DLC or what, but they did say that the story is going to be expandable. They're going to continue supporting the story of the game for many more years to come. So that's really cool. So what's the premise of the game? Well, the premise is about a world that was left, quote, unfinished by the gods. And these gods, they abandoned their tools that they were using to create this world, and those tools are always fighting with this force known as the Anthem of Creation. And the friction from this conflict, this causes the world to become unstable and is constantly changing and evolving due to this friction between the Anthem of Creation and these leftover tools. So because of all this chaos and stuff, there's frequent storms, there's mutant creatures, there's huge monsters, and all kinds of other things out there to kill you. So players who will play as what are called freelancers must use and pilot these javelin exosuits to venture out into the world to avoid dying, basically. Not only that, but the freelancers' enemies, the Dominion, are attempting to weaponize the Anthem of Creation, and it's up to the player to stop them and protect their home of Tarsus, or Tarsus, however you say that. So there will be 4 available javelin suits in the game. There's the Ranger, the Colossus, the Interceptor, and the Storm. I personally think the Interceptor is my favorite. A lot of people like the Storm, but I really like the Interceptor. It looks cool. So because you are playing a pilot and you are not your suit, you can actually switch between these 4 javelin suits for whatever the mission asks for, or whatever your personal just mood or taste calls for. And each of these suits will let you play the game differently. And they talked about 2 of them in the conference. They talked about how the Ranger is kind of like the most balanced of them all, and he's kind of like a jack of all trades. And they also talked about the Colossus being like the heavy artillery guy who packs big guns and a big shield. No information yet on how the other two suits play, but they did look really cool. And yes, the Javelins will all be customizable with cosmetic upgrades out the wazoo, so no worry about that. And when you hear about that, you immediately have to ask about, monetization. And microtransactions are a yes, but there will be no loot boxes, and you can buy exactly what you want, and there will be no pay-to-win microtransactions. There's going to be no way to really upgrade, the effectiveness of your weapons or gain an advantage over other players or anything. So they claim it's all going to be cosmetic. So that's good. And they said that playing Anthem alone by yourself, maybe you just want to experience the story for yourself or whatever. They said that playing it alone is certainly possible, but it will be much more challenging than playing with a group of friends. So co-op is encouraged with this game. Not required, but it is encouraged. So then we went into a new gameplay demo of Anthem, and the mission they show off in the demo is called Scars and Villainy, and in the demo, the Scars, which I guess are some enemy faction or whatever, they have created an acidic super weapon, and it is your goal to stop them. Now, the gameplay does look really awesome and even more fleshed out than what we saw last year at E3, and it does also look very Destiny-like, but it's also very unique in its own right, and I don't think, though, that I'm going to pre-order this one, because it's not something I need to get on day one. I am still interested, but I do want to see if this game is actually DOA, or if it flourishes, and it becomes a super big hit before I get on board, because, it's something that I'm going to kind of take a wait-and-see policy on. So, finally, we got the release date for the game. The game comes out February 22nd, 2019 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So that was the EA conference. If I had to give it a letter grade, I would give it a letter grade of a B. Which I think, if I remember correctly, I do believe that my review last year was either like a D or a C. So it definitely was a better show than last year, with more announcements that got me excited than just a couple of games. Obviously on the top of my most anticipated games from the show is Sea of Solitude. When I put that game on my predictions list, I actually had no idea what it would be like or how good it would actually end up looking. But that reveal today totally took my breath away. And if the rest of E3 is even slightly better than this one announcement, then it's going to be a totally magical year for E3. So some of the other games I'm excited for are obviously Unravel 2, all the Clone Wars content in Battlefront 2, and of course Anthem is looking better than ever, and I'm super stoked for that one too. But that's going to do it for my E3 2018 wrap-up of the EA Play conference. Be sure to come back here tomorrow when I talk about the Microsoft and Bethesda conferences. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later with some more E3 2018 coverage. Peace out.